Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Sudhir. Good morning, Zaji. कैसे हो आप? Good morning, Suresh ji. Good morning, Varun. Good morning, Ritesh. Market is currently in the intermediate ratio, right? Golden ratio, no? Market currently golden ratio में है, intermediate में. Minimality के साथ 150% के पास है ना? This is your supply. Sorry, map करना भूल गया था. इतना focused execution में था ना. One, execution two, minimality M1 formation, currently golden ratio 150% के पास. Okay. Good morning, Arya. जो भी डाउट्स है पूछ लो. We'll start in 2 minutes. How did you know without marking it's at 150%? Because जहाँ पे ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूटेड है वहां पे मैपिंग है ना. गोल्डन रेशियो टच हो गया है. नेक्स्ट इज इंटरमीडिएट. याद रखो, screening is indicating bearish move, wave tide is bearish, ride is bullish only till the nearest liquidity point, that is this level. Right? उसके साथ जैसे सेटअप फॉर्म होती है, we'll be looking for an execution in perspective towards the analysis which is short. सर आप टॉप से नहीं पकड़े. नहीं, मैं जब देखा मार्केट तब मेरे को मिला 3980 पे यार. इस सेटअप के साथ मिला था मेरे को. या 1 2 होल्डिंग पे डालना चाहता था बट होल्डिंग पे नहीं डाला क्योंकि आज वो रिजेक्शन जो आएगा ना, उस रिजेक्शन के साथ स्विंग में होल्डिंग डालेंगे, तब मजा आएगा. एंड नोटिस वन थिंग गाइस, जितने भी लोग ट्रेड ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन देख रहे हैं, कैंडल 1, कैंडल 2, कैंडल 3, it is just grabbing the liquidity. Once the liquidity is taken, we'll look for an execution. Simple as that. Okay. So that are the few major things that you always needs to keep in mind and be in the direction. Don't go against it. Always. ये चीज जब आप याद कर लोगे ना, so with that you will be having that clarity and executions. So let's start with the screening. राइट? सो स्क्रीनिंग में मेजर चीज क्या है जो हमें फॉलो करके चलना है यहाँ पे? तो उसके लिए हम आएंगे फर्स्ट 1 hour. What does volume indicate whenever the movement gets into the play? A high rejection point, first indication of the movement, शॉर्ट के लिए इस पॉइंट ऑफ एक्शन में था, राइट? उसके बाद मार्केट आइसबर्ग जोन के साथ कल के दिन एक हाई वॉल्यूम जो डेवलप हुई थी, ये वाला था एशियन सेशन में, उसी के साथ रिट्रेसमेंट फॉर्म हुआ था. रिट्रेसमेंट फॉर्म होने के बाद what do we notice exactly? What is market trying to do? Market was in the bearish movement, retracement form हुआ, हाई कैलिब्रेशन पॉइंट डेवलप नहीं हुई थी. जब हाई कैलिब्रेशन पॉइंट डेवलप नहीं हुई है, मतलब मार्केट विल कंटिन्यू द ट्रेंड, राइट? सो इन द ट्रेंड अलोकेशन पर्सपेक्टिव के हिसाब से मार्केट एक पीओआई रेंज में गया था कल के दिन 1 आवर पे. इफ यू नोटिस, पार्टनर 1, पार्टनर 2, break, retrace, S2B1 formation with S2B1 formation drop, मिनिमलिटी 200%. ये 1 आवर का ये अलोकेशन है. उसी अलोकेशन के साथ फर्स्ट टारगेट कंप्लीट हुआ था. वो कंप्लीट होने के बाद व्हाट डू वी नोटिस? हाई वॉल्यूम इन न्यूयॉर्क पीएम सेशन, right? So with this, what are the major things that you need to keep in mind and be in the direction? एक चीज यहाँ पे हमेशा नोटिस करना है, क्या ये ड्रॉप होने के बाद जो हाई वॉल्यूम डेवलप हुआ है उसके बाद रिट्रेसमेंट आया? यस. आज के दिन में हाई वॉल्यूम कहाँ पे है? एट दिस स्टेज डेवलप हुआ? यस. Right? So when the development is there in the moment, always remember it is just going to hunt the nearest point. So 1 hour का major liquidity point of action अगर notice करना चाहोगे, it's exactly here, right? This is the major impact zone of 1 hour swing allocation के हिसाब से. With that perspective, what do you have to look for? Just when the market creates a setup and gives a drop, that's where you will look for the holding trade again. Okay. So with that, what did we notice? Market is currently in a bearish segment wherein the current retracement is being formed and allocated the direction in a bullish side in a tide. So you always have to remember that whenever the tide is bullish, means it's going to go for a nearest liquidity hunt point. With that hunt point, market will tend to continue the movement. Okay. So in this case, where are the major liquidity point of actions that we are getting at the current point? So first major liquidity point of action is this. Second major liquidity action point is this. 1 hour. Right? So अगर मार्केट यहाँ तक नहीं जाता है, मार्केट इसी जोन ऑफ एक्शन टीटीएस 2.0 के साथ रिजेक्शन दिखाती है, एक ही चीज आपको याद रख के चलना होगा, क्या यहाँ पे सेटअप फॉर्म हुआ है? फर्स्ट सेटअप फॉर्म होने के बाद क्या यहाँ पे आपको वॉल्यूम स्पाइक दिखने को मिली है? अगर यस, वॉल्यूम स्पाइक सेटअप दोनों मिला है, एग्जीक्यूशन फॉर होल्डिंग कैन बी टेकन अंडर द कंसिडरेशन, नॉट प्रायर टू दैट. Okay, so keeping in mind liquidity is there. Once liquidity comes into the play, allocations is always taken under the considerations without a miss. कोई डाउट है गोल्ड में? प्लीज डू आस्क. बीटीसी को छूना भी मत जब तक वो मार्केट इंडिकेट ना करे. ओके. नेक्स्ट टारगेट इज 96,800. ओके. रिट्रेसमेंट पॉइंट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस मिनिमलिटी 4 hours, उसके वजह से रिट्रेस हुआ है. हमारे पास यहाँ पे त्रिशूल फॉर्मेशन अभी तक बिल्ट नहीं है, तो वी वोंट बी लुकिंग फैजा. ओके. अगेन नियरेस्ट हंटिंग पॉइंट विद द हंटिंग पॉइंट ड्रॉप. ओके. सिरम ड्रॉट में है तो बने रहना। गोल्ड में कोई भी डाउट है गाइस, प्लीज डू आस्क। नहीं नहीं, डायरेक्शनल है, सो बने रहना। आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम्स विद दैट। Indication is very much important. Once you get an indication, we'll look for it, else no. Are you getting the point? Why do you guys complicate it so much? Yes, simple. Don't complicate the structure, no? Why do you want to complicate the structure? थोड़ी उससे कुछ फर्क पड़ता है, Nankit Sharma. As there are two LG points pending in gold, how do we access which LG point will be grabbed before continuing, or both will be grabbed? Ankit, it's a very simple allocation of understanding, right? So if the market needs to continue the direction, right, from which the last week and this week has been followed through, so it's not about which liquidity point is going to hunt out first. It's always about which allocation from where the market is going to take a reversal, right? For that execution perspective, you have to wait for a setup. If the setup is formed, definitely the nearest intact point will be the first liquidity grab what the market will going to take. So what is the major liquidity grab point? Which is this, right? Why? This is the intact level. So whenever there is an intact level, the market could tend to hunt out the major acquisition of a movement point. So not this, not this, this. Keeping in mind that is 200 pip movement, 200 pip movement allocation जब देखना है, just in ID perspective, not in perspective of a swing, क्योंकि कल की movement allocation was of 800 pips, so you have to wait for a right setup entry, Ankit. Okay? Once you get that right setup entry, you can look for an execution. अगस्त्य MTSL follow करो. अरुंधति मैम से वरुण सिस्टम ट्रेलिंग तो लगाओ यार तुम पहला. सॉरी सॉरी आई फॉरगॉट। ऐसे बोल रहे हो कि जैसे गुड मॉर्निंग श्रीकांत। ऐसे बोल रहे हो कि जैसे तुमने ये करना भूल गया, नाश्ता करना भूल गया। हाँ, ऐसे चलेगा? नहीं। एनी डाउट्स गाइस, प्लीज डू आस्क। आज इंडियन मार्केट्स बंद है क्या? नहीं, 80% तो क्लोज हो गया है, रिमेनिंग 20% का ये है मेरे को। 80% क्लोजर वॉज डन एट दिस पॉइंट। 20% अभी भी चल रहा है क्योंकि अलोकेशन पर्सपेक्टिव के हिसाब से what is the major thing that I follow is I wait for the nearest intact level. एड ऑन करने में थोड़ा आसान होगा। Sir, can mark TTS 2.2 as 6 a.m. as low, 7 a.m. as high? 1 second, sir. 6 a.m. as low, 7 a.m. Sorry, 6 a.m. as low, 7 a.m. as high, and 7:15 as retracement. Yes, sir, you can mark it. But before that allocation, there is one more allocation, which is 5:15. No, this only is right. 6 o'clock candle low, 7 o'clock high, 10:15 along. Sorry, वो वीक नहीं देखा था उसके वजह से। So this wick has crossed below this point, so we can't take this allocation. So this 1, 2, 3. Good job, Suresh sir. सुरेश जी, आपका एमएनपी का स्क्रीनिंग शेयर कर दीजिए, जो आपने कल के दिन में मार्क किया था ना, सप्लाई डिमांड सब। सो उसका स्क्रीनशॉट लेके टीम को शेयर कर दीजिएगा। शॉर्ट के लिए मैं अभी देख सकता हूँ? नहीं, सेटअप बनने दो यार, 1000 बार बोल चुका हूँ। फोमो ट्रेड करना है, 200 लॉट से शॉर्ट करो, अकाउंट उड़ाओ, उसके बाद शांत बैठो। उससे पहले 80% को प्रोटेक्ट कर लो, उसके बाद करना। क्या बात करते हो अर्षित? किधर ट्रांसफर कर रहे हो? मजाक कर रहा था भाई. Sit calmly. Stream will be there for next 20 minutes. जो भी doubts है, please do ask. Bro, I have a strategy. Mark high volume candle, high volume candle, high low, then wait breakout or breakdown after displacement. Wait for a retrace near high volume candle, then boom. You can try this for precise entry. Mr. Opophone, please watch any of my streams. I don't need precise entries. I have one confusion in this TTS2 marking. Can you show an example of a swing point marking with retracement? Do we consider 50% of the swing as retracement? No, we take the full. Just for an example, allocation point is always taken in perspective of to the previous range. Okay, Chaya. So at this point, what are the major things that you need to follow? Just for an example, if the market is in a drop, right? One, two, three. With this continuity in the movement towards the top, what is the one major point of action that needs to be taken under the consideration here? If even a wick is being replaced with the swing high point in the bearish scenario, right? This retracement won't work. Okay. So what is the one major thing that you need to be following at this point? Drop one, drop two, one, two, three. In this drop, the retracement should be below the swing high point in the bearish scenario, right? So when it crosses the low of a retracement angle, you can allocate this movement as swing high, swing low, and retracement. And with the nearest setup of S2B1, you can look for an execution till the golden ratio targets and the minimality range, not prior to that. So that is one to look towards the short. Towards long, same scenario. If the market is in the movement, one, two, three, and if it has crossed the swing low point with a wick also, we won't take it as a consideration. It has to be above the swing low point. So अगर यहाँ तक भी retracement है ना sir, so that's totally fine. That's considered as a retracement point. From that point of action, Once it breaks with the nearest S to B1 setup, you look for an execution till the level of golden ratio to intermediate. Okay. So in this case, what did you notice? If I had taken this as a swing low, so example wise, this if I had taken as swing low, this as swing high, can I take this point? No, because the swing low is at the same range, right? But in this case, 6 a.m. candle as a swing low, swing high, retracement is above my swing low point. So yes, this can be taken under the consideration. Did we had a setup? Yes, we had a setup. With the setup, execution. Okay. But you can try like an another confirmation check on chart. You can do it. How long are you trading for, Mr. Oppo? Sir, what happens in case if the market is bearish and go long to take 15-minute intact but leaves the 1 hour intact and move down? Will it come to take 1 hour intact before going down? See, 1 hour is looked in perspective of allocating a structure which is in a swing direction, right? So if it's taking a rejection from an intact perspective of 15 minutes, then the trade allocation will be in perspective of same ID intraday, not swing, right? So whenever you notice there is a movement action plan for a swing, you have to wait for the right allocation of 1 hour. That's when the major playout comes into the game, right? 15 मिनट्स का इंटैक्ट कंप्लीट हुआ है उसके साथ ट्रेड ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन दिखा है then that perspective will be taken under the consideration for what? An ID trade, right? ID trade ka levels will be followed through with the 15-minute levels, right? When you get a confirmation of swing, then you get a confirmation to hold and continue in 1 hour intact confirmation, right? Just in case एक example दिखाता हूँ. एक सेकंड डिलीट हो रहा. So which setup was formed on execution point? It's not S to B1 ना. कौन सा वाला? आज का दिन का. आज का दिन का भी S to B1 ट्रेड ही है वो. लॉन्ग की तरफ की बोल रहे हो ना आर्य? बताऊंगा रितेश का होने के बाद, right? So what did you notice in the action plan movement? First, the movement was dropped. If you notice, at this range only the major action plan was taken, right? Without completing an intact at this range. So this range of action plan is taken under the consideration of what 15 minutes ID. Let's come to 15 minutes and check what has happened, right? So in this perspective, there was a S to B1 at 15 minutes. This was exactly our supply 150%. With supply 150%, market took a rejection, but immediately continued the movement towards the long post completion of 200% demand at this range with a setup formation. Why? Because 1 hour level was pending, right? So यहाँ पे 1 hour का level pending था, उसके लिए market took a rejection because it had to continue the movement in swing towards the short. So this was taken in the play. Same way, intact of 1 hour continued. But major action plan यहाँ पे notice करना क्या है? क्या ये drop जो चाहिए था उस हिसाब से बना? नहीं. Why? Again, the major intact level was at this point. Right? So that's the reason whenever you are looking for a swing execution, you have to look at 1 hour index, right? So keeping in mind, every point of action gives a right equivalent movement. So in this perspective, if the current scenario doesn't go till this point, this is the nearest intact level, right? 1 and 2. सो ये इंटैक्ट लेवल तक जब तक नहीं जाएगा, दिस इज नॉट अ स्विंग कंफर्मेशन. आईडी कंफर्मेशन के हिसाब से ट्रेड करो. 250 पिप्स, 300 पिप्स यू कैन लुक फॉर, नॉट 900, 800 पिप्स, राइट? If the market continues with a drop and perceived movement, in this range you get a setup formation in 15 minutes, then look for an execution in perspective of the drop down. Okay? Ritesh, hope that demand understanding of intact 1 hour and 15 minutes is clear now. Sir, which setup was formed on execution point? It's not S2B1, no, it's S2B1. दिखाता हूँ एक second. और yeah. What is the criteria for intact level? How to indicate it? The nearest rejection point. So there. कहा गया levels. Don't say me, my levels are gone. Right? What is the confirmation that we needed, Arya, to execute a trade? The execution of a trade is looked in perspective of S to B1, right? Two candle confirmation, third candle intact. Trade of execution was played here in this point, right? So with that, Asian session SL is of 20 pips. From the entry point, it's 40 pips. Candle drops के हिसाब से 30 pips के हिसाब में है. So that's totally fine. Okay. आप कहाँ से सीखे कैंडल किंग भी सेम चीज करता है? अब ये कौन है? चांस ही नहीं है. करते होंगे. Happy for him. How to confirm intact with S2B1 setup, third candle which should come up to the first candle close? Yes, that's right, Chair. Stream will be there for next 5 minutes. जो भी doubts है पूछ लो. And then only S2B1 setup confirm. Yes, not prior to that. Two candle confirmations in the direction should be there. Always remember that. Okay. टू कैंडल कंफर्मेशन इज सच ए सेवियर बैड ट्रेड से कितना बार सेव किया है? यस इट डज. कुछ डाउट ही नहीं है आप लोगों के पास? नहीं नहीं, तुम मत पूछो. आप ये बात आप ये बात सकते हैं कि हमें पता कैसे चलेगा कि नेक्स्ट सप्लाई और डिमांड सेम आने वाली है या डबल आने वाली है? सेम तब होगा जब मिनिमलिटी क्रिएट नहीं हुई है. अगर मिनिमलिटी फॉर्म हुआ है, देन 150% एक्शन प्लान टू 200 एक्शन प्लान. अगर सेम एक्शन प्लान के हिसाब से विदाउट कंफर्मेशन मूवमेंट डेवलप हुआ है, then it will be on the directional allocations. Right? In preservance of volume only, the action plan is taken under the consideration, not against to it. Sir, can I map S and D? Okay, supply and demand. I know the volume profiling intact, LGP screening, and all the setups. What percentage I know from the book? Sir, I can map SD. I know the volume profiling, intact, LG, screening, and all the setups. What percentage I know from the book? 3%. I have a doubt. नहीं हो गया उसका. वर्षा, इस वरुण को हटाओ यहाँ से. एक्चुअली आप जब एक्सप्लेन करते हो तब इजी लगता है, सो डाउट नहीं आता. MTSL फॉलो करो. अगस्त्य, वरुण, स्मिता मैम. रिटेलर्स यहाँ पे ट्रैप होंगे बहुत. इंटरमीडिएट रेशियो टारगेटेड. Can you prefer me or a video where I have all answers like all things covered in one video? जो भी आपका सीखना है लाइव पे आओ, पूछो, सीखो. Don't demand for things. Sir, can consider the POI zone from 0, 12, 15 candle to 16, 15. No, that's a consolidation, no? Sureshji. POI, what is POI? POI is taken under the consideration of partner candles. जब तक partner candles allocate नहीं होता है, POI won't be able to, sorry, जब तक partner candles allocate नहीं होता है, तब तक वो POI कहलाया नहीं जाता है, right? POI range of action में 3 partners is known as 1 POI and above. यहाँ पे अगर notice कर रहे हो, so this zone of action is taken under a consolidation play, right? तो इस zone of action को हम allocate करके नहीं चल सकते कि ये POI है, okay? सुरेश जी, एक बार मैं देखा था टेलीग्राम पे आपने, एक बार मैंने देखा था टेलीग्राम पे आपने 1500 लॉट्स लिया था एंड 1000 पिप्स कैप्चर किए थे. मीन्स टू बी प्रिसाइज 183 करोड़ थी इंडियन करेंसी में. मेरा कोलीग बोला अंबानी हो सकता है नेक्स्ट. नहीं, वो उनका नाम है, उनको बोल दो. He will be Nitesh only, he won't be Ambani. Sir, when a POI formed yesterday from 7:30 a.m. to 12, I was looking for a fake move before the real move shows up. But sir, market just went down. रितेश, बुक में कितना टाइप का पीओआई है? नहीं अगस्त्या, गलत पॉइंट में रखे हो यार. क्या कर रहे हो? एमटीएसएल यहाँ पे कौन रखता है? यहाँ पे रखो ना एमटीएसएल. कुछ भी कर रहे हो. कल की पार्टी ज्यादा हुआ क्या? Yes, still going on. I'm also here. भाई वरुण, उसका सिस्टम में से ना, अगर तू भी उसके साथ ही है, सिस्टम ट्रेलिंग लगा दो डायरेक्टली एट 200 पिप्स, चलेगा? You know about repeating of structures, and you believe in chart pattern that made in consolidation phase, like before consolidation, move is same like after consolidation. आपका नाम क्या है मिस्टर ओपो? Beautiful guys, 40 more pips. Asian session has given a good returns today. Great. Yes, sir. Great, Suresh ji. TTS 2.0, first target reached. Yes. And minimality 200% का भी first target reached. Keep it up, everyone. Keep it up. अब यहां से एक ही चीज, सेटअप फॉर्म होने दो, वॉल्यूम स्पाइक आने दो, रिवर्सल देखेंगे। सेटअप फॉर्म नहीं होता है, वॉल्यूम स्पाइक नहीं आती है, 1 आवर में आइसबर्ग जोन में ही रहता है, तो ट्रेड ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन विल बी इन द सेम डायरेक्शन टिल लंडन सेशन। Am I clear to everyone? उसको एक एगमाइस्टर पिला दो, ठीक हो जाएगा। मोनो, सो मोनो, आप किससे भी सीख रहे हो, मेरे को प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, राइट? इम्प्लीमेंट करो, राइट? स्ट्रीम हॉपिंग मत करो। स्ट्रीम हॉपिंग करके क्या सीखोगे आप? You be someone who you want to be in life, right? Be better than yesterday. Don't try to be the same person who you were yesterday. in layman's language. Okay, गलत मत समझना. So all the new members, just remember one thing. जो भी strategy, जो भी concept, जो भी formulations follow कर रहे हो, 6 months of back testing, 6 months of forward testing, 1 month of live analysis, come with a small capital, compound it and grow, right? With growing, you have to follow a proper risk to reward. We follow Asian session of 20 pips and 200 points in crypto, and 40 pips and 400 points in London and New York. With that, mindset is the key. Remove FOMO, greed, and fear from the mind and be in the directions of the market. Don't go against the markets. When you go against the market, it will always tend to hunt you down. This is Nitesh signing off. मिलते हैं अगली सेशन में. तब तक के लिए टेक केयर. बाय बाय. एक और चीज, it's your hard earned money. Make sure to protect it with your analysis, your learnings, your execution, your psychology. Take care, guys. Happy holiday. Indian session closed, Aj.